Welcome to this lesson on reading tables. Tables are one of the most common ways data is presented on the LANTITE. You'll see frequency tables, timetables, price lists, two-way tables, and more. Today we'll build the skills to read them accurately, extract the right information, and perform calculations using table data. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to navigate rows and columns confidently, extract specific values by cross-referencing, perform calculations from table data, and interpret real-world tables like timetables and price lists. These skills come up in almost every LANTITE test, so let's make sure you're fully prepared. Reading a table is about understanding its structure. A table has rows going horizontally and columns going vertically. Step 1. Read the title to understand what the table shows. Step 2. Read the column headings across the top and the row labels down the side. Step 3. Find a specific value by cross-referencing. Follow the row across and the column down until they meet at the cell you need. Let's practice this with some examples. Let's start with a simple table. It shows the number of students from each year group who participated in Sports Day. Part A asks how many Year 4 students participated. We find Year 4 in the left column and read across to get 52. Part B asks which year group had the most. Looking down the numbers column, 61 is the largest, and that's Year 6. Part C asks for the total 48 plus 52 plus 55 plus 61 equals 216. Part D asks how many more Year 6 than Year 3. That's 61 minus 48, which is 13 more students. Now let's tackle a two-way table. This shows preferred lunchtime activities by year group. Part A asks how many Year 5 students prefer sport. We find Year 5 in the row labels and sport in the column headers. Where they meet, we get 18. Part B asks for the total who prefer reading. We add down the reading column. 8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. Part C asks how many Year 4 students were surveyed. We add across the Year 4 row. 12 plus 6 plus 10 plus 7 equals 35. Part D asks which activity was most popular overall, so we total each column. Sport has 45, making it the most popular. Timetable questions are very common on the LANTITE. Here's a train timetable from Parramatta to Central. Part A. If the teacher arrives at the station at 7:50, the next train is at 7:55. Part B. The 7:55 from Parramatta arrives at Central at 8:32. Part C. The journey time is from 7:55 to 8:32. From 7:55 to 8 is 5 minutes, and from 8 to 8:32 is 32 minutes. Total is 37 minutes. Part D. If she needs to be at Central by 8:15, we look for trains arriving before 8:15. The 7:30 train arrives at 8:07, which is the latest option that works. Now, let's work with a price table. Part A asks for the cost of 3 packs of paintbrushes. Each pack is $12.50, so 3 times $12.50 is $37.50. Part B is a multi-step calculation. The teacher buys 2 sketch pads at $8.95 each, 1 pack of paintbrushes at $12.50, and 4 packs of colored pencils at $6.75 each. 2 times $8.95 is $17.90, plus $12.50, plus 4 times $6.75, which is $27. The total is $57.40. Part C asks for the change from $100. 100 minus $57.40 is $42.60. Here's a LANTITE-style question that requires multiple steps. The table shows spelling test results for 3 classes. We need to find which class had the highest percentage scoring 8 or above. For Class A, we add students who scored 8, 9, or 10. 5 plus 3 plus 1 equals 9 out of 30 students, which is 30%. For Class B, 7 plus 4 plus 2 equals 13 out of 28, which is about 46.4%. For Class C, 6 plus 5 plus 3 equals 14 out of 32, which is 43.75%. So Class B had the highest percentage. Notice how Class C had more students scoring 8 or above in raw numbers, but Class B had a higher percentage because of the different class sizes. Here are the most common mistakes with table questions. First, reading the wrong row or column. Always trace along carefully. Second, forgetting to check units. Is the table showing dollars, thousands, percentages? Third, not reading the question carefully. How many more means subtract? How many in total means add? And what percentage means divide by the total and multiply by 100? And fourth, time calculation errors when working with timetables. From 7:45 to 8:20 is 35 minutes, not 75 minutes. Be especially careful when crossing the hour boundary. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and try these 5 problems. Problem 1. In a table, Year 5 hectares 32 students, and Year 6 hectares 28. How many more does Year 5 have? Problem 2. A train leaves at 8:15 and arrives at 9:02. How long is the journey? Problem 3. Paintbrushes cost $12.50 per pack. What do 5 packs cost? Problem 4. 12 out of 30 students scored above 80%. What percentage is that? And problem 5. In a two-way table, the sport column shows 15, 12, and 18. What is the total for sport? Check your answers on screen. Let's recap. Always cross-reference carefully by following rows and columns. Check headings before extracting any data. In two-way tables, you can add across for row totals and add down for column totals. With timetables, be careful with time calculations. For multi-step questions, identify what operations you need before starting. And remember, percentage questions require you to divide by the total, not just read the raw number. Table reading is one of the most practical skills you'll use on the LANTITE, so make sure you're comfortable with all these techniques.